Welcome back, my friends. So Terraonion, they've been teasing a new product, and finally today they dropped all the information, and it's available for order. So they've created the Neo SD, Neo SD Pro, Mega SD, Super SD System 3, all awesome flashcart solutions for retro consoles to play games through SD cards. Like the Super SD System 3 for the PC Engine allowed you to play CD-based games, Hue card games, had a lot of extra features to it. They've created some really interesting products out there. And this new one, a little different. People were kind of having their thoughts what they were going to announce, but I don't think anybody expected this. So the Terraonion mode. I mean, maybe people expected half of this, but to have two in one, it's freaking crazy. Mode, ODE, right? We know what ODE stands for. A lot of us do, you know, with the GDMU, the Rhea, the Phoebe, all that stuff. But mode, MODE, multi-optical disc emulator, Dreamcast and Sega Saturn ODE, 2-in-1. That's a very strange thing, but also at the same time, very exciting and interesting in my opinion. So this thing's going for 182 euros. We'll go over what it is in a second here. 182 euros, it's about 200 US dollars. Ships from Andorra. Depending upon where you are in the world, you may get hit with some, import taxes or fees or whatever. In the US, when I've ordered from them, I didn't get any additional fees in the past, but depending upon where you are, just check with where you're at on if you get any kind of fees with that. But about 200 US dollars. Looking at like the GDMU and the Rhea, those were like 140, 150 bucks each, something like that. 2-in-1 for about $50 more. I think I'm down in it. So they got some box art visuals here. Nothing crazy, but the box does look interesting. I like how they have the Saturn and the Dreamcast kind of meshed together. So very nice. Little more close-ups that they have, but whatever. Here's the actual optical disc emulator, drive emulator. Very interesting. I'm sure there's probably going to be some changes with this final board before it ships, but very interesting for sure. Compatible with Saturn and Dreamcast. Same firmware for both systems. That's huge. No dicking around trying to figure things out. It's just one firmware for either system. But then this leads us to some interesting things. Like, are you really going to be swapping this around between two systems? Because you have to open your system to put this in. But the nice thing, the Sega Saturn and Dreamcast, in order to access the disk drive, you do have to remove the disk drive to put this in because you're loading games a different way. And the thing that's really cool about this is there's a ton of options as far as how you can load your games. But the Saturn and the Dreamcast, very easy to open up and access that drive and remove it. Set it to the side if you want to use it later. Keep it stored, especially if it's a good drive. But there are a lot of like Saturns out there with bad drives and whatnot. Dreamcast, I'm not sure. There probably is, but some people do get busted ass systems, clean them up, and an ODE is a good option to bring it back to life, right? So compatible with both 20-pin and 21-pin Saturn consoles. So that opens it up. Like, hey, make sure you have a 20-pin or 21-pin Saturn console, but the compatibility is going to be fairly high with that. So compatible with both 5 volt and 3.3 volt Dreamcast, proper voltage level conversion. So that's good. Compatible with all Dreamcasts there. Pre-order starts now. You can order these now. Estimated to ship late June, early July. So they're in Target for a few months from now. So hey, if you're interested, get in it, right? So here we go. Auto region patching loads games from different regions without patching games. So, I mean, that pretty much means this is a region-free device. If you're on a US system, you can play Japanese games, vice versa, all over the world, different regions games on one console. You don't have to mess around and worry about, oh man, is my US system only going to play US games? Do I got to region mod it? Do I got to do this? No. This is just region-free, allows you to play these games without having to patch anything or do any additional mods. You can play different regions games, right? Very simple stuff, but awesome. Auto detect this thing, the MODE, the mode, auto detects the console it's plugged into. I find this really interesting. No jumpers to configure, nothing that you got to set up differently other than, whatever games you're putting on there to play, which system. But to just put the drive, like, boom, right into the system and set up whatever, storage format that you're using and then just go. not have to worry about anything additional. That's pretty cool. So no soldering, no like technical skills with that kind of stuff. You just pop it in and get ready. SATA 2.5 hard disk drive compatible with exFAT. Works with both hard drives and SSD drives. That is freaking huge. Plug in a freaking drive to this thing, opens it up big time to, having a lot more storage, being able to have both systems games on there if you so choose. Like I said earlier, I really don't know how many people are going to swap this thing around. I have my ideas what I'm going to use this for. I did order one, but I just don't, I think people may just like order two. I mean, I'm ordering one. But yeah, there you go. USB for USB thumb drives and powered USB drives, micro SD cards. So the cool thing is micro SD cards, I know in their presentation, it's like, hey, these damn things are expensive. I mean, I have a bunch of micro SD cards to be honest, but like these things are pricey for the amount of storage you get. They're useful for a lot of things. My fear with micro SD cards in general is the failure rate on them. Reading and writing them over time, I've had a few that I've put through like tons of use that just died on me. So I know that can happen with any kind of storage format, but it just seems for me and my personal experience, your experience may be different. Micro SD cards and SD cards in general, which I use a shit ton, just don't last as long as an actual hard drive for me. So this is really cool because not just the cost, but in my opinion, the reliability, the cost per terabyte, the cost per megabyte, how gigabyte, whatever you want to look at it, is a lot better with hard drives. Popping in a hard drive, getting all the games on there. Like I know Todd in the presentation, he had mentioned, I think the Saturn complete library is like a terabyte. Dreamcast is about 1.5 terabytes. So man, you could get a bigger hard drive, or you could get two separate hard drives, right? Or two separate, storage, formats, and pay a lot cheaper than buying SD cards. Have everything on one hard drive, or get two. Like there's tons of options. I think that's really cool. 100% compatible with all Saturn and Dreamcast games. Compatible with the redump TOSEC images for both Dreamcast and Saturn. Look at the Internet Archive. You'll figure it out. Compatible with CDI, GDI, CCD, MDF, bin, and ISO, and Q images. So all the file formats. This is the thing that drove me nuts with the other options, is finding file formats that worked properly, that would load correctly. I had a lot of issues with the REA, and that's where I'm at with this. Is I'm going to be using this in my Sega Saturn. My Dreamcast, I do have a GDEMU, and here's the cool thing. This opens up a more wider available option that will have an actual company support, not a clone like the GDEMU's cloned out the ass, and you're not getting any support on that thing. This you're getting a company who has support, has forums, have people working with them, working for them, trying to help people out. You have an issue with this thing, there's somebody you can go to. With these clones and whatnot, you have no one you can go to. So this will be something that's more widely available. I'm sure over time it'll be sold in other shops too, like Stone Age Gamer. So that's cool. It's opening it up to be available to more people other than those other options that are out there that are just so much harder to get. These guys produce a lot. They sell out a lot too, but they continue to produce their products, making them available to people. So that's a huge thing, in my opinion. Plug and play, no soldering required. 2 user interfaces. I thought this was neat. Simple list view and advanced cover art. So just a simple view, scrolling through your games, boom, pick one, start playing. And then where you can have the cover art, little like metadata type stuff, screenshots, pick your game that way, jump into it and start gaming. Really like that, having that cover art view. Gives you more of a flashier experience to decide what you want to play. Supports multi-disc games. I mean, we would expect that. Zero seek time, providing faster load time. So that is huge. Supports the MPEG card for the Saturn, Action Replay, Pseudo Saturn Kai, the RAM carts, all that good stuff. Compatible with all the different mods out there. DC Digital or DC HDMI. I'm not calling it DC Digital. It's DC HDMI, damn it. Dream PSU and Pico PSU. FRAM, upgrades on the Sega Saturn. If your Dreamcast or Saturn has mods and upgrades, this thing's going to be fine with it. Other than if you have like a GDMU or a Rhea in there, you're gonna have to pull that bitch out and put this in, right? You can't have both in there, obviously. A little bit of tech data here. I'm not gonna read all this stuff, but just very high performance. They got everything going on there. The one thing that I thought that was cool with this is there's different options. Like you can have multiple drives plugged in, or multiple storage formats plugged in, like an SD card or micro SD card and a hard drive, or a micro SD card and a USB drive, right? Like a thumb drive. I did hear, I'm pretty sure they said that you couldn't use a hard drive and a USB thumb drive because, you know, just whatever, it would kind of clash or whatever, the power, something with power, right? So you can't do that, but there are other options. Like I said, hard drive, micro SD, or micro SD and a USB thumb drive. So that's pretty cool. You can have multiple storage formats in there. Very interesting. I think the price is decent for what it is. I was thinking, man, they're gonna do a Saturn ODE and it's gonna be expensive as fuck. And hey, I mean, I was shocked. I'm surprised to see what they're offering. At the same time, being a dual option, you don't have to worry about like, and they don't have to worry about, that's the cool thing. They don't have to worry about manufacturing two different products and trying to fill the need for two different consoles. They could have done Dreamcast and Saturn separately and then just sold them, and then like one sells out and then people are like, man, I want that, but only the Dreamcast one is available. This makes it so, hey, it doesn't matter which system you want it for, it's just one product. So I think that'll make it easier for them to keep up on demand, be able to, you know, make sure people have the option that they want, because it's both options in one. But like I said, I just don't see people swapping this around. I wouldn't. I'll definitely try it though, but I don't see myself pulling this from one system or the other. I damn well guarantee though, I'm gonna use this on my Sega Saturn, and if I really dig it, and it's just so amazeballs, which I think it's gonna be, I may just have to get another one for my Dreamcast, even though I do have a GDMU and I do have a Rhea, but that Rhea, I'm just tired of messing with it. It's out. It's out. The mode is taken over. So I'll have a link in the description to Terraonion's website, straight to the mode if you want to check it out. The website was running a little slow this morning because there was a lot of traffic on there, but I think it's kind of smoothed out a bit. So take a look. Really do appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Much appreciated. And with that said, I will catch you guys next time. Peace out. Bye-bye. And boom. Bye.